We're here today to deal with what we think is rats. They're hearing noises in the loft spaces. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around the outside of the building and investigate any areas that rats may be entering, or squirrels or mice. We'll find out as we go along. Right, so we're going to start at the back of the property. What we're looking for is ways for animals to get in and out of the building. The first thing we want to look at is for signs of animals travelling past, which this render is quite bumpy, so it gives a nice foothold for animals to climb up. You also see these shaded marks where this is basically the grease from an animal's skin. As it goes past, it leaves the grease behind, gives us a trail where they're possibly getting in. Also want to be looking up here where we've got these pipes. They lead into the loft space and you have this large gap all the way along. You can get squirrels, rats, gliss and mice using this area to gain entry to the building. This foam around this window has been chewed off by an animal. We don't know what animal, but it's come out with little chunks. It proves that mice, rodents are using this area to get in. If you look around where generally pipes are going in and out of the building, you can see here, you've got a nice big gap where generally the builders haven't then collapsed the hole afterwards. This is easy access for mice, rats. Squirrels and gliss aren't generally going to use this, but the other two rodents will. So as we go around the building, we want to check for other holes. Just because you found one doesn't mean there's not more. So you want to give a thorough visual inspection of areas where mice and rats could potentially be getting in. You want to check where the two buildings are joint. So you've got a nice big hole there. You want to check the building as you move around. This is another thing that we'll be looking for. I would say this hole's too big for mice to make. The way everything's been brushed away would suggest that it's a frequently used hole. This follows the cables which go into the cavity of the building, then would go up to the loft spaces where the noises are being heard. So from the holes that we found outside, what we want to do is gain entry to the loft space. We found it in the garage, so we're going to go up there and have a look. So what we're looking in here for today is signs of the four main types of rodents that we get in this area. We want to look for mouse droppings, we want to look for signs of rats. You're not always going to find rat droppings when you have rats. Rats will generally isolate a toilet area and poo in that one area, so unless you find that toilet area, you don't always find the droppings. So we look for other signs like gnaw marks, smudges, smear marks, and what's great about a loft is dust. We can see footprints, we can see tail wags, we can see multiple different types of evidence in a loft without finding droppings. We also want to look for squirrel activity. So the same thing, you will find squirrel droppings in the loft generally when you have squirrels. We also want to look for potential gliss evidence, which are the droppings are slightly different to the other rodents. What we got here is a selection of mouse droppings. The reason I say selection is because you've got some ones that have discoloured. That generally tells us they've been here a while, they've lost their moisture, they're not as new and active as they were. With the evidence we found outside, we can't find any rat evidence inside, but it doesn't mean there's not rats here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some bait up in the loft and we're going to come back and check what's going on at a later date to identify what animal is in the loft.